1st, 2024. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from October 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Isles motions to approve the minutes and Reeves seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the motion carries. Having to say names like it screws up the flow. All right, next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is for members of the audience to speak on items that are not on the agenda. Would anyone care to speak in public forum? All right, seeing none for public forum, we'll go ahead and close public forum. Next item on the agenda is introduction of park and recreation staff.
Yeah. So, you've known that we have done a lot of hiring recently. We've had, some maintenance workers. We had a ice arena manager. And tonight we want to introduce, we have Abby Nelson, who's ice arena coordinator. She has maybe not quite a month under her belt. And then Alex Crook, who's our recreation coordinator, who just started this week. So we're really excited to have them on board. And I will let them give you a little bit more information about who they are and what they are doing for us.
Yeah, I'll kind of tee them up for you too. So like Keith said, this is Abby Nelson. She's a graduate, William Penn, graduated with a bachelor's in sports management and business, completed an internship with Mason City Parks and Recreation, where she got a lot of experience throughout their department, but also got experience at their ice arena as well. Also completed internship with YMCA in Oskaloosa within their YMCA in their marketing department. And then also did some, while she was going to school, had some work study with the William Penn Athletics department as well. So we're excited to have her part of the team. And she'll, like Keith said, she'll work directly with Michael over at the ice arena, not only in facility operations, but a lot of programming and things over there. So we're excited to have her. And yeah, you have anything you want to add?
Might want to pull the microphone closer to you.
Yeah,
You can move it.
You can move it.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here and for the opportunity. So thank you.
But why don't you just explain some of the things that you've been learning and what you'll be doing in your role?
Basically, for right now, I'm just training on the Olympia and like the skate sharpening, and I've been helping with games and concession stands and taking inventory and stock and stuff like that. So basically, right now, I'm just like learning the gist of what like helping Michael out.
So they let you drive the Zamboni.
Yes,
What a
yep.
great job.
Yep.
I've always wanted to do that.
It's quite exciting. Yep.
There's a class you can take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
But it's a drive the Olympia or
The
drive the
Olympia.
ice
Yeah.
resurfacer.
Yep.
The ice resurface.
But one of the things we'll say with Abby as well is one of the reasons with the ice arena coordinator is that she will be working evenings and weekends. And really what it does is our manager works during the day, Abby works during the night. So what we now have is a lot more full-time staff coverage and direct contact between full-time staff and our user groups. And that's one of the reasons that we went this route. So
Yeah, she's the first in the position too. So she's setting that bar high. So, and then we have Alex. Like he said, Alex started on Monday, so he's got not even 4 full days under his belt. But went to the Mankato or Minnesota State University Mankato. Got a bachelor's degree in recreation park and leadership studies. Completed an internship with the City of St. Louis Parks and Recreation, and also worked with the City of Mankato as a facility recreation worker, and also throughout high school did summer park maintenance and was a park attendant with Egan Parks and Recreation. So we're excited for him to bring his background and experience, and we're glad to have him started. And we're just kind of doing the same thing, training and everything these couple weeks. And then he also will have a different schedule to help with our recreation managers to work some of the evenings and on weekends when we have programs going on to help offset that workload for them. And we'll also be involved in facility coverage and then out at a lot of our programming. So, and we'll also have the opportunity to lead some of his own programming as well. So I'll turn it over to you. You want to add anything? If not, Keith, I'll ask you a question.
Pretty excited to be here, and everyone's been great, and excited to do some sports programming and special events. So, yeah. Keith?
All right.
Welcome to Ames.
Very, very good.
Good to have.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, good job. You're done.
Oh, the agenda. There we go. All right. Next item on the agenda is the staff report regarding the Homewood Golf Course 2024 season.
Yeah, so we'll introduce Nate Peets, who's our recreation manager. He does not only the Homewood Golf Course, but he also oversees admissions and concessions at the Furman Aquatic Center, during the summertime. And one individual who is not able to be here, maybe you saw his picture in the Tribune recently. He is Pat Wienia, who is the new basketball coach at Ballard High School for the girls' high school team. So he's at practice tonight. But I will just say, so Josh was going to fill in for him. But I will say that between Pat and Nate, Homewood Golf Course gets a lot of positive comments. The course is great. We've had people that have made comments this year that, I never really golfed Homewood, but one individual for sure said that a buddy of mine, we went and golfed it, and we'd have to say that it's probably the top course that we golfed. Condition-wise, all summer long. So it's a real testament to what Nate and Pat and the staff do out at the golf course. So kudos to them, and I'll let Nate take it from here.
Yeah. So I want to start too with thanking the staff inside and outside. They all did a wonderful job all season. I tell Pat this every year. He would probably get really annoyed at me if I came down and talked to him every time he got a compliment on course conditions or whatever it might be. So I really don't tell him that enough probably, but I tell him like once a month still. So keeps him happy and keeps him motivated to keep doing a good job. So the 2024 season was a very busy one in a good way. A little bit of the overview. We started on March 11th. You go to the next slide, Joshua. Thanks. Started on March 11th. So we typically open April 1st. The weather was so great this early spring that we decided to open a little early. And then even the late fall, we stayed open until November 8th. Typically, we do close around October 31st. That is also weather permitting, and it was nice enough to stay open. So 243 total days we were open for the season. And out of those days, roughly 8 were affected by the weather. A lot of that did come in the March timeframe too, where it's up and down. So overall, it was a really good season with the weather, even though October was a little dry for everyone around here. Rounds, we had just under 26,000 rounds played at Homewood. As you can tell, that is quite an increase over the years and from the 5-year annual average. So lots of tee times booked throughout the whole year there. Passes were also up. I think part of this was because we got to start the golf season so early. So people were excited to get out. Think they could get a little more bang for their buck. So they purchased a pass at the beginning of the year, which there's definitely a lot of pass holders that had some fairly cheap rounds out there with the amount of play. And then some clubhouse staffing. Throughout the whole season, the clubhouse has a total of roughly 18 staff members, part-time, seasonal. That does sound like a lot, but we do have some staff that they're retired and they only want a couple shifts. We have some staff that work till the school's up and then they go back home for the summer and come back. So it kind of fluctuates. I would say the average is around 14 on staff at a time, but we had 18 total throughout the year. And then we had only 4 new staff this year, which is great to have that retention and keep the same faces around from year to year. So as far as the maintenance side of things, I'm going to touch on things for Pat since he can't make it. But Pat usually works with around 3 seasonal maintenance staff members. And then himself, he's out there, and then he has some full-time maintenance guys that do help with some special projects and events out there. So go back to golf specials. Golf specials. We have a couple discount days throughout the year, Tuesdays and Sundays. It's basically $10 for about 3 hours a day for players. It's called our grandparent parent-child rate. We offered 139 discounts throughout the whole season, and a majority of those were used in June and July. And then we have some free days, so Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Youth Day. That is, they get to play for free with a paying customer. And we had a total of 33 of those utilized, and 20 of those came on Father's Day. And then new this year, we incorporated a youth rate into our fees and charges. This is for 17 and younger, and it's just a flat rate of $12 for greens fees. It doesn't matter. It could be the weekends, holidays, whatever. It's still just $12. And we had 489 that utilized that. So that was very positive that came out of this year and the fees that we incorporated. So golf leagues. We have many different golf leagues throughout Homewood. We have a men's league, a couples league, a city golf league, an ISU ladies league, a Homewood ladies league, a youth golf league, and then we are in the process of working on a 60-forward golf league starting in 2025. So we don't really have many of the details finalized yet, but we are kind of working through those, and hopefully this late winter we'll have those and be able to advertise for that. This fall, we were able to find a golf instructor, Nicole Hollinger. She was hosted lessons at Vinker Driving Range. She has a full-time job, so the lessons were pretty limited this first year. But we had 2 different sessions and 11 total participants. I've reached out to her, and we plan on offering hopefully a few more this next year and starting in the spring instead of the fall. So we're still going to work out the details, but a lot of positive feedback from parents. And I think right now she's going to strictly focus on youth golf league, but if something else occurs where you have another instructor that might want to do adult or whatever, we'll definitely entertain that and hopefully get someone else too. Clubhouse rentals. We have a total of 169 hours of clubhouse rentals. And since we've been open, the average is right around 163. So pretty much right on par for the average of the clubhouse rentals. But we are keeping busy with this upcoming season. We have holiday parties coming right around the corner. So Homewood will be busy in December as well. Since the clubhouse is a year-round facility, we do offer some winter programming. We have euchre, which is on Monday evenings, cribbage on Wednesdays mornings and evenings. We have some painting classes. One's coming up on December 7th. You can see the photo of last year's painting class. Also February 15th, a little Valentine's Day painting. And then we have Homewood for the holidays. We'll have Santa come out to the clubhouse. We'll have a craft, a little light breakfast, be able to take pictures, things of that sort. So I'm going to cover a little bit for Pat too. As far as some of his processes, we aerify the greens every year. On the picture on the left, that's kind of the start of it. They punch holes in all the greens. Pat and staff will go behind and they'll lay sand on it. They'll drag the sand in, they'll roll it in, they'll water it in. This basically will help with getting oxygen down to the roots. And as you can see in that right picture, it helps increase the growth of the root there. So we do that yearly just to keep the greens in good condition. This conditions going into winter, they're really good. As you can tell, this picture was taken actually this fall by Kevin Buck. So beautiful picture there. But we had a lot less damage and theft this year than normal, which is good. We did have still some damage when golfers would walk off the green and maybe hit their club and take a divot from the green, things of that sort. But it was a lot less than previous years. Irrigation was also a lot better this year. Pat and staff, they replaced a check valve in the spring, and that helped cut down on the use of water and also the amount of leaks that we have throughout the year. This year, we used approximately 3.5 million gallons of water, which is down from previous years. So hopefully that valve kind of fixed some of those issues there. And then also with the high volume of play we had, we used about 20 tons of sand on our tee boxes. So this is a daily maintenance practice that seasonal staff will do. They'll go fill divots from the previous days, and that helps our rotation on the tee boxes and helps grow grass. And so we can use that spot in a couple weeks, hopefully. So just some more pictures from the fall. And then we showed you guys this last year, but this is kind of the final product of our number 9 tee box area. We've only been able to utilize about half the new tee box so far. Pat and staff are going to plan on trimming some trees in that ravine there, and then we will be able to use the full tee box. So basically what we did, we doubled the size of the tee box. So we'll be able to rotate the tees more often and have grass more often, because this tee box is a short hole. It has a lot of play, and so sometimes it's kind of hard finding some grass on it sometimes. So, but it's in great condition now, and it will be even better going forward. So another fall picture for you. It was a great year. Really appreciate all the staff, full-time, part-time, seasonal. Everyone did a great job. Lots of comments, lots of play, and hopefully we can keep it carrying on into 2025, and we're looking forward to it. So does anyone have any questions about the Homewood Golf Course at all?
Nate, who does the tree work for you?
So Gabby, the forester, normally does, but usually Pat is in communication with her, and Gabby will determine if her staff can do it or if we need to hire out.
You mentioned theft was down. What gets taken?
Yeah, so we have tee box markers on every hole, and then flag sticks sometimes. So typically the holes that are close to the Miracle Park over there, it's pretty easy to walk through the woods onto the golf course. Sometimes we find stuff like throwing into the woods, sometimes throwing down into the ravine. Sometimes we just have to replace. Yep.
What are the greens fees for non-special days?
So it kind of depends on, we have weekday rates and weekend rates, and then additional like cart fees and stuff. But during the weekday or the weekdays, it's around $15 to $18 for 9 holes. The weekend, it's about $20. And that's just the walking right there. So pretty affordable.
Very.
And you forgot to mention if you're 90 or over.
90 and over are
My mom
free. Yep.
utilizes that.
Yep. We actually, surprisingly, 90 free. So I would say we probably have about
Awesome.
10 or so 90-plus-year-olds that get to utilize that. And
Yeah.
there's probably half that are still walking the golf course, which is
Nice.
awesome to see too. So
Nice. That's great.
That's great.
So you all have something to shoot
Yeah.
for.
Awesome.
anything else?
Great job.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
All right. Next item on the agenda is a motion approving an agreement with the Ames Cyclone Aquatics Club to use the 50-meter basin at Furman Aquatic Center from May 26, 2025 until August 1st, 2025 for practice.
Yeah, so this is the annual use agreement that we put together for the Ames Cyclone Aquatics Club, ACAC, for their use of the 50-meter basin at Furman Aquatic Center. They utilize that basin from the start of the season to that first part of August, Monday through Friday in the mornings for their practices. City staff, we can also program in other basins, or if there's rentals, we can also utilize those at those times as well, but they have that 50-meter basin. Last year, they did approach staff, and we discussed and implemented last year a flat rate fee. Prior to that, we were doing passes that was just administratively very difficult to keep track of. And so it was actually fairly simple this year putting this agreement together, because we had outlined not only last year, but this year to gradually get them to a 40% rental fee. So that was already outlined. So last year they paid $75 per hour. This year they'll pay $78. Next year that would increase to $82, and $82 is currently our 40% of 40% of the rental rate. So if prices stay the same, that would stay consistent, or it would increase to whatever that current rate is at that time. So ACAC has already reviewed and signed the agreement. And so we are recommending to approve alternate 1, approving the agreement for Ames Cyclone Aquatics Club to use the 50-meter basin at Furman Aquatic Center from May 26th until August 1st, 2025 for practices in the amount of $7,800. And be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or discussion? If there's no questions for Courtney, I would take a motion.
Move to approve alternative one.
Second.
All right. Reeves moves to approve alternative 1 and Isles seconds. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving alternative 1, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is just a discussion and review about the updating the park rules.
Yeah, so we had a little conversation about this last month, and with some of the things that are going on and coming up, so we have had some conversation about some of the issues that we've had with homeless individuals in the park system. There is a committee that is made up of about 8 people throughout the city, city staff, that is talking about homeless and some different things. But what we wanted to do is look at our park rules, park policies, and are there things that we need to change or update with what we have currently. There's also year-round restrooms, that are going to be here at the plaza. So that's going to be a concern, especially in the wintertime. We already in the summertime have a lot of individuals that, get into the restrooms, they stay in the restrooms, they vandalize the restrooms. So that's a concern. We also, not only with the spray pad here at the plaza, we hopefully will be constructing the Daly Park splash pad, next year. So there will be exterior showers in both of those locations. So we're concerned about showers. We're concerned about washing clothes. There's just a lot of different things. Over the years, we have had questions about should the parks even close at night? Should they just be open, all the time? There have been questions about, well, you allow alcohol in the community parks. Why don't you just allow alcohol in all the parks? Right now, neighborhood parks and Ada Hayden and our woodlands, the alcohol is not allowed in those areas. So we thought with some of the things that are going on, some of the things that we're experiencing, this would be a good time to have conversation. And we're not just going to limit it to the commissioners, the Parks and Recreation Commission. We will want to go out and get public input, hold some different sessions. We may do a survey in regards to park rules. Courtney and staff just did, and we'll share more of this on December 5th. But they just did a survey regarding Fitch Family Indoor Aquatic Center, and over 2,000 responses for that survey. So found that it's a good way to get information, obviously, if people are interested and want to share some comments. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a background. Now, with our park rules, we'll mention also, so park rules or our park policies, that's what they are. It's not an ordinance. So with an ordinance, and we, in Chapter 19, that talks about Parks and Recreation Commission and other things related to Parks and Recreation, those are ordinances, and the police department can't issue citations, and because it's an ordinance, and it's something that they can go in and do. A park rule is something that they really can't enforce. So generally with a park rule, if something happens, if we see somebody smoking in the park and I go and tell them, I don't know if you know this, but our parks are tobacco free. So, which includes, no smoking, or you can't smoke. Most of the time people will say, oh, didn't know that, and they'll put it out. Other times we get people that they continue to smoke. I'll say it again. And if they still don't abide by that, then what I can do is call the police department and say, hey, we have asked this individual multiple times to not follow or not do this because they're violating the park rule. and then they can come out and they can ask the person to leave. And that's just one example. So we have had conversation with the city attorney about, potentially is there a way to take our park rules, make it part of an ordinance, or have the park rules as part of an ordinance, but yet council doesn't have to approve them. They would give the authority to the Parks and Recreation Commission, but then there could be some enforcement or infractions with those park rules. So there are some different things that we have discussed, and so we gave you 3 items in the packet. So the first one was the park policies, and it's just our current park policies. And this is what's on our website. So one of the things, you see, it just lists the things, but it doesn't talk about any of the ordinances. And in the second document, chapter 19, you'll see some things, and there are some things that just need to be updated with chapter 19, which we'll take care of, at the same time. There's one, and we saw it yesterday. Joshua and I were looking at it on the first page, section 19.7, number 2. It talks about pleasure grounds. At one time, there's probably maybe a common term, but pleasure grounds really isn't something that we ever use. So there's some of those types of updates.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah. And then we do have to, there's the one, section 19.10 about firearms prohibited. That needs to be updated because we can't disallow people from carrying in the park system. So that needs to be changed. But then the third document, what we did is, and this is just a draft, and this is more of a formatting type of situation, where now what we did is we say, hey, let's kind of format this so it's easier for people to find. So we have park hours, alcohol beverage use, bicycles, and then if it is part of municipal code, then we just say it, but we put it on here so people can go to one place. They can go to our website. What are the park policies? And whether it's a rule or an ordinance, it's all in this one document. So we're really looking at going to like this draft, this format. But what we wanted to do today is get feedback from the commission regarding how would you like staff to get input? Are there specific things that you want us to ask the public about? And is there just anything related to the policies that you want us to be considering as we put this together? And again, there would be public input that staff would just conduct, and yet any meeting that is discussed, people would have an opportunity to share and give their feedback directly to the commission as well. So with that, I would look for direction, feedback, comments, questions.
So Keith, in a policy document like this, how do you address the homeless issues that we have talked about over the last couple of meetings? I don't think you can have a category that says homeless issues, but
No.
how do you address those in a policy statement?
So I think what we need to do is we need to look at what are the issues. All right. So in one case, we have camping. All right. We have people that are staying in the parks. Well, we have an ordinance that the park hours are 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. So if there's somebody at Bandshell beyond 10:30, police can go in there and say, hey, the park hours are this, you can't be here. So if there is something related to, let's say, showers over here at the plaza, all right? do we need to mention that these showers are for users of the spray pad? And I don't know, I'm just maybe simplifying, this, but is there something with it? And then if somebody is over there, just taking a shower, to clean up, they don't have any intent of using the spray pad. Is that then something that we could do? So I think with it, I think we have to look at the individual maybe activities or issues or problems that we're having, and then is there something that we can do? Now, we may not be able to address some of these things. They may be difficult, but that's, I guess, would be what we look at is what are those individual issues. So, and if you have specifics, I maybe can give you a little bit more direction.
Well, some of them are a little hard to articulate. I mean,
Well, like the bathroom, the restroom.
they're not Motel 6s.
Yeah,
And you never know what you're going to find.
yeah,
Into there, with families and kids.
yes, yeah, and that's going to be a struggle, with it. Now, restrooms are meant to go in, use the restroom, and leave. Now, we have had situations where I've called police, staff have called police, residents have called police because somebody is in a restroom. They have their bike in there. They have all their stuff. They got a phone plugged in. They have a lot of different things that they're doing. That's not what it's intended for. So I think it's one of those things we could look at. And again, the city attorney is going to have to weigh in on some of this. Is there a way to write some of these rules or potentially ordinances to address those items? Now, as far as in the evenings, we have talked about things, and this may not even just with a park rule. We've talked about, do we pipe in crows, just making their noise, all night long, which hopefully would be a deterrent for people to want to stay in there. But there are very creative things that happen. People get in there. They have pulled. They have taken. We've talked about. We're just over here the other day, and Joshua asked, "Can we get tamper-proof screws on the outlet covers?" Because they will take them off. They'll pull wires, and they'll basically pull the wires, and then the doors don't work, and they're on automatic doors. The thermostats are an issue. So there's and so some of that we work with police. Police right now, they get 5 to 10 calls per day regarding issues, and they have been very helpful. With Bandshell, they will go in and they will move people along, but they can't spend all their time, doing that. And some of this council is going to have to weigh in as well on how to address some of these issues. The vandalism, that's a tough one, because like we've shared before, our staff will go in and they go in and there's feces on the floor, rubbed on the walls, and so on. One thing that we have talked about is at Bandshell in the men's restroom, there's a long hallway, and sometimes you could go down that long hallway and you don't even know that somebody's in there until you get to the end of that hallway. So we have talked with the city manager's office about blocking off that hallway and putting a door into the men's restroom from the south side of the building. So now when you open up the door, you can see the whole restroom. It's right there. If something's going on, it's right there. Staff can just walk away. Right now they have to go in. So there are some other things that we're trying to discuss and do, but some of them are going to be very difficult, Jeff.
Keith, are there other communities though? Obviously there must be with similar problems. Have we canvassed the Midwest looking for solutions that might already exist out there?
Yeah, in what some, and we have seen this in central Iowa, what several communities have done, Des Moines, Waukee, Ankeny, they have passed ordinances that people cannot, I guess, I don't know, they can't camp on public property. That's one way to move them along, even during the day.
Right.
With it, we get calls of abandoned things. So it's and yet there are some communities that do nothing, with it. So I guess it's not an easy topic, but we do want to do what we can to keep not only staff safe, but our users safe, our patrons safe. We don't want to get to a point where people are not wanting to go to the parks. And we have seen issues out at Daly Park, further west. We've had a couple of situations where people have been sleeping, overnight out at Ada Hayden. We haven't seen that before. So this has been a very unique summer and fall that we haven't seen. So, but that's one thing, Jeff. We can do more research with other departments and see what people are doing with it. So,
Do the police patrol the parks at nighttime?
as much as their time allows. So one thing that we have had conversation with police about, say, even when they're doing paperwork, right? Just pull into a parking lot. Just pull into a parking lot and do your paperwork there. That's a deterrent in itself. They do that at the Furman Aquatic Center. That's helpful. They do it at different places. So they're out at our office, at times where they're doing paperwork and things. So that's something that. But they also have a lot of other things that.
And there's a
that
lot of
they have to
places,
do.
so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you find that the parks are mostly used when there's restrooms? When there's restrooms available? Like Ban Shell, Indus Grove? I mean, do you find that the bathrooms are a draw?
I don't know that we have any hard data on that, but I would say yes.
So
Because that's when the issues, that come up.
Right. So would there ever be talk about locking the bathrooms and, during the worst, the summer times when it seems to be the worst, and putting a Kaibo up in that bathroom for people who are using the park appropriately? If they need to use the restroom, they have a Kaibo. But
Yeah.
that the actual restrooms are locked?
Yeah, we have discussed that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's a real struggle, and that's why with all of this is we have 66,000 people in Ames. Probably about 65,900 of them, are abiding citizens, and we have no issues with them. And so it really becomes difficult, those community parks, and just even our department philosophy, city philosophy, is that our community parks have permanent restrooms. So it's because of those 50, 75, maybe 100 people that are causing issues. Should that impact the 65,000 plus that don't cause any issues, that want to use a restroom, that really don't want to go to a park and have their kids go into a Kaibo. So we have discussed that, Janet. Even with Ban Shell, we have talked about when it's bad to lock the restrooms at Ban Shell, and this spring when Ban Shell restrooms weren't open yet, we had those same issues at Brookside. So yeah, it's a difficult thing, and so
Right.
that's just I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Joshua, but
I think you've
hit it really well. It's a very challenging thing. We've talked about all those things, but the thing is, people also will have Kaibos or portable toilets in their parks, and people will stay in those overnight. So
Yeah.
Any place to stay warm,
So,
protected.
so, and I know this is a hot topic, right now. And, thus we have the committee within city staff. We have an RFP that is out, a request for proposal for a consultant. Story County and the city of Ames both put in money to hire a consultant to come and do some outreach and eventually put together some type of an action plan, for the community providers. Pa Goldbeck, our assistant city manager, she hosted a provider meeting a couple weeks ago. Well, I think it was last week, Monday, and she had over 60 people. 60 providers came, and they got into small groups and had discussion and so on. So in really, I think I've mentioned this before. So again, this is just one aspect, but we have part of the discussion has been what are the issues, and with it comes down to substance abuse, mental health issues, and lack of housing. We probably aren't going to solve those things at Parks and Recreation. But those are the issues. So we can do an ordinance, we can lock the restrooms, we can do different things, and yet does that solve the problem, or does it just move the problem from one place to somewhere else? And we've already seen that that's what happens, they'll go to different places. So it's very difficult. So that is, obviously one thing that we want to try to address, with the park rules and the policies. And I think council is going to have to weigh in on this as well. So other questions, other areas that you may be hearing or more on this topic. I don't want to.
This is totally a different section of the ordinance, but I have sort of long desired a change to the plants and property section of the ordinance. Just some clarification there, because it says unlawful to willfully cut, rake, damage, destroy, or interfere with any tree, shrub, flower, bush, or other planting. People have interpreted that to me as like foraging is illegal. And, I know like picking black raspberries along the path, like you're probably not going to get in trouble for that, but just some clarifications there. And I think also some of the friends groups that do vegetation rehabilitation, like, if I'm pulling up garlic mustard in the park, I'm technically interfering with plants in the park, even though they're invasive. So I think, if you're just having a holistic overview of all the park policies and ordinances, that's one that's just been kind of a squeaky wheel for me. I guess I've never brought it up before.
Yeah, no, you bring up some good points, because I know one of the things with Ontario Park, one of the ideas or suggestions that we've had, and we've had this in past years, is having a food forest. And so that is something that there are some individuals, and council does have an interest, in that. Whether that comes to fruition or not, don't know. But no, those are the kinds of things that we want to hear. If there are some things that you feel need some clarification or maybe are out of date, that's what we want to do, and then we can do the the research and the legwork to to figure out what it should read or how it should read.
Is the only place to find the park policies is online, or are there signs at the park?
So-
Or some things there are, some things there not?
Yes, there are some park hours. We have, there are signs about parking on hard surfaces only. There's one thing that we have talked about, and there is a committee, Joshua's on it, regarding micromobility. And one of the things that they have been discussing is speed limits for bicycles, and which e-bikes should be allowed and which ones shouldn't, and things. And I see Jerry is here. We've had this conversation. We've had issues up at Ada Hayden where people, are not respectful when they're on their bikes. They go excessive speeds and make inappropriate comments to people when they don't get out of their way. So that's something that we're looking, at as well.
Well, speaking of bicycles, I've certainly noted bicycles and electric bikes on some of the unpaved trails, for instance, at Carwoods and a number of places where bicycles are not very appropriate. And it's, for instance, that's not mentioned here. Some of them aren't, but there might be a sign there that says hiking only or no bikes allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little contradiction there we need to look at. But it would be great if there would be some kind of sign at the trailhead that might say no bikes and maybe a bike rack.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all good things. This is what we're wanting. Other questions, comments?
Are there any audience members who would like to speak on revamping, reviewing park policies or park-related ordinances? All right. Is there any additional discussion from the commission? All right.
So I will just
never mind.
may add one thing from a timing standpoint. So we really haven't talked about this. So looking ahead, we have the workshop on December 5th with the city manager, talk about CIP, which we do every year. We will probably at that meeting as well bring some information to discuss regarding Fitch Family Indoor Aquatic Center budget, the proposed fees, and maybe a couple of other items, the survey information. Courtney's and staff are putting that together. So we'll do that. There may not be a need for a December 19th, meeting. I know last year we didn't meet that December regular meeting. So we could, may give you an update in January, as if we do want to do some things, what would be good. We usually open restrooms and start things around April 15th, depending on the weather, just like Nate said. We get people in the parks all year round, and that's what we want. We want people to be active. You don't have to sit inside just because it's cold out. There's a lot of opportunities to go out and walk and go into the woods and see things. We encourage that. So, but we'd like to, if we can, try to get things in place, prior to maybe April. That would, I think, be very helpful if we're going to make some changes. Again, this is going to be a working document. Again, things change over time. We talk about this with staff that, I do believe that everything is done for a reason. The question we need to ask ourselves, is that reason still valid today? And that's what we want you to be looking at, these current policies, like some of you just brought up examples, hey, maybe that's not quite the thing. Technology changes. When these were put together, e-bikes, I don't think were on the horizon. But now they're here. And how do we do that? So I think what we'll try to do is we'll start working on this, see if we can get some public input sessions scheduled, and then try to bring back something maybe at that January meeting.
I'd like to, could I add one thing about,
Yeah.
we had an issue up at my shop. I'm in the old train depot on Main Street. And behind, we have a nice covered area, and we had the homeless set up there this week. So I called our property manager, and what she decided to do is to contact like Bridge Home, and they went out and talked to the people to see if they could help them. And they declined it. Said they didn't want the help, but then they told them they had to move along. But with that, I mean, is there a way that if you had someone you could like report it to call, that somebody would come out to talk to these people and help them find housing or maybe?
And some of that is already done.
Okay.
So Joshua and I, we went out with, there's a representative from Ames Police, from Mary Greeley, and then from Irely Ball or Optime. They went out with us one day and had conversation with people. I know Susan from Mary Greeley and Julie from the police department, just recently they've been doing outreach.
Okay.
Joshua he went up and talked to the individual at Ada Hayden the other day and said, hey, can we find assistance for you? Do you need help? So people that we have going out, know these contacts, and even with talking with some of the providers, if we do find, say, a camp in the park system somewhere, Joshua will call police or some of these other providers, and we go out and we generally post, something. If there's nobody there, we'll post a sign, and on there it talks about, hey, if you need assistance, here are things. So a great idea. We're doing some of it. Could we do better at it? Sure. But just like that individual, and there's others, some just don't want the help. It's a lifestyle that they choose.
Well,
And they're good.
it sounds like this consultant will be able to give broader ideas for whatever sort of homelessness task force or
Yes.
a broader community-wide action plan. So that sounds like right now it's kind of as needed, but that consultant may produce a broader plan. So
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Any other feedback? All right. Next item on the agenda are the project updates.
Yeah. So the first one with Fitch Family Indoor Aquatic Center. With this one, so we would have hoped by now that the precast concrete panels would have been going up. We have had some delays for various reasons. They're just even early on the schedule, it went from 9 weeks to 11 weeks, and then there was 2 more weeks, and then there were a few more days, and so on. I just attended a meeting this afternoon prior to this, and we do have confirmation that the precast panels for the natatorium, the area with the pools, those will start being delivered on December 2nd, that Monday. Actually, next week, we are going to U.S. Erectors will be coming out, and there are some helicals?
Helical.
Yeah. That need to get put in. So they'll start putting those in Monday and Tuesday. The crane is supposed to get on site on Tuesday. They'll mobilize, they'll be ready, and then precast panels should start going up on Monday, December 2nd. And then once they get that in, then the roof will start going on, and a number of other things. All of the foundations are now poured. Everything's good to go. There's actually a guy from U.S. Erectors out there this afternoon, and what he was doing is he was going along the length of the foundation with a grinder, and he'd make a line where one edge of the panel goes and the line where the other edge of the panel goes, because he said, if we don't do this, what happens is sometimes they get put too close together, or sometimes they get maybe a little bit too far away. And then when you get down to the end, all of a sudden that panel is 2 inches too long, or it's 2 inches too short, and it's tough to move those. So he's actually going out there. So when they're installing, hey, this is right where it needs to go. So that's that we're excited, for that part to happen. The Story Construction and RDG is still reviewing all of the shop drawings and submittals. Right now, they're about 85 to 90% through all of those shop drawings and submittals. And again, what those are, if people don't know, there's the plans and the specifications, and what they do, sometimes those shop drawings, what they do is they submit them and say, all right, this is how we're going to do this work. This is how we're going to do that. And then the architect and the construction manager look at it and say, yes, that's acceptable. They'll look for conflicts to make sure that the ductwork is going where it's supposed to be, and it's not going to interfere with the plumbing, the piping, and all those types of things. So that's what they look at. They look at the equipment. Here's the air handling units, and make sure that it meets the specs that we have. So they're doing all of that, and still moving along. So that's really there hasn't been a lot that's been happening out there since the last time we met, but the next time we meet, we should that site should look a lot different. And like I mentioned, the other thing is, we've been working, Courtney and I have been working on the Fitch budget, and we'll share that with you on December 5th in regards to tax subsidy, proposed user fees for daily admissions, for punch cards, for season passes, what the schedule is going to look like for the year. So, and then the survey information. So, any questions? Anything that I missed that need to add to that? Okay. If not, we'll move on to the Stephen L. Shanker Plaza. Start off with the ice skating ribbon. We've had conversation about that. There's still information before the city can make a decision. There's some information that we have asked for, and one of it is the surface elevations of the ice ribbon surface itself, and Henkel is going to be doing that coming up here, and then also contracting with Terracon, a firm, and what they're going to do is ground penetrating radar, and then they'll also have to do some calibration with their equipment, which means that in several locations of the ice ribbon, the concrete will need to be chipped out to the depth of the wire mesh, which is laid right on top of the refrigerant tubing. So they'll be doing that. Once we get that information, then what we'll be able to do is then make a decision regarding the 4 options that Henkel gave us in regards to fixing, the unacceptable surface to that ice skating ribbon. So that's where we're at with that. Obviously, if you've been by, there's been a lot of work that's been done over the last couple of months. We're hoping that everything would be done in October. That's not the case. They still need to put some trees and shrubs in. Those are supposed to go in no later than next week. They need to be in by the 30th. They're waiting for the soil temperature to get below 50 degrees. They have to do some grading. And then when the soil temperature is below 50, then they'll dormant seed, hydromulch, or hydroseed the turf areas. They'll hydromulch for erosion control, all of the landscape beds. The rest of that material will go in next spring. Some of the concrete most of the concrete has been poured. The ice ribbon, or not the ice ribbon, but the spray pad looks good with the two different colors. The pavers are in. So we did do a walkthrough last week Thursday. Josh and I were there with some other city staff and contractors, and kind of did a punch list of the building, and we found 93 items on the punch list that need to be corrected. So that's kind of what's happening. One of the biggest things that when we went to council at one point, we talked about that Henkel said that they were going to have the work done in October. People took that as that the plaza was going to open in October, and that has never been our intent, because we don't want people out there until the turf is established. Right now it's still a construction zone, still have things to be done. We're keeping the fence up. Once we have the information we need, and we can make a decision on one of the options that Henkel has provided, if one of those will be acceptable, that work still needs to be done. So best case scenario, hopefully we can get this stuff accomplished and we could open the spray pad. But as of right now, no decision has been made, and probably won't be made until maybe early next spring in regards to the plaza. Anything I missed, Joshua? All right. And then the last one, the mini pitch, we did, provide information, and I'll maybe let Courtney just give an overview of what we received on the bids, and then we'll talk a little bit about some questions that council had for staff and also for the commission.
Yeah, so on October 23rd, we received bids back. We have 4 bid packages for this project. One of the bid packages being the concrete and grading. We received two bids for that package. Bid package 2 is for the modular system of the mini pitch. That includes the fencing, the goals, but also includes the lighting and the acrylic surfacing as well. We did not receive any bids back for that package. Bid package 3 was for electrical wiring to bring that off Bloomington Road to the site. And then bid package 4 is an add alternate to bring water service from Hyde to install a potential drinking fountain near the mini pitch. So we received bids for 3 of the 4, obviously bid package 2 being quite an important one of that. So we have reissued that bid package and should be expecting those back and be reporting those to council on the December 10th council meeting. You can see in the council action report, there's a table with comparisons. The engineer's cost estimate for the project, which does include a base price for bid package 2, is $338,401. The bid results, if we took the lowest bidders from the bid packages and then included that engineer cost estimate for the mini pitch modular system, we would be looking at $359 or $359,385.43. And so the current funding available we have for that project is just shy of $261,000. So if bid package 2 does come in at that estimated price, hopefully lower, we would have a funding shortfall of a little over $98,000. And so once we receive those actual costs from the results of the bid package, we'll be reporting those to council, but also discussing options and presenting options for any funding to fund that potential shortfall for the project to proceed.
So So we shared that with council, and Courtney gave a very good overview. Some of the questions that council members had was, it seems to be that this project has gotten more expensive and more expensive and more expensive. And initially we had talked about the cost of this might be roughly about $200,000, and now it's $360,000. So they questioned whether or not we should move forward, with the project. And one council member asked the question, should we just stop it right now, and not even put the bid package 2 back out for bid? Staff's recommendation was to say, hey, we are this far, with it. Let's see what the bids do come in for bid package 2. Potentially, I think the cost estimate when we had looked at for bid package 2 initially was $104,000. The engineer has it as $150,000. So if it comes in $50,000 less, that really the shortfall goes down quite a bit, almost in half, or a little bit more than half. So staff's recommendation was, let's put it back out to bid. Let's see what it comes back at. And then what we can do is we'll share with council all of this information. One question that was asked was, why do we want to put it in the park system, and will it be used? So one of the things that we said is, and this is a council wanted us to do this project, that way we were pursuing it. But with it, as far as in the park system, we're always looking for different amenities. We're looking for things that we don't have. We don't have something like this. It will provide people an opportunity to play a form of soccer even when the weather is inclement. In the springtime, when the fields are too wet to play on, they could still go up and play on the mini pitch. Okay? As far as will it be used, said we don't have a crystal ball. All right. But what we can tell you is, and Courtney can expound on this, but when she talked to other communities, a lot of communities, once they put in one, they wound up putting in a second, or maybe even a third, or maybe even a fourth, because they were popular. So it said, we do feel that it will get used, especially with the lights. It will get used, and the public, Dwayne was at that meeting. They were in favor of it. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Courtney, as far as usage. So one of the questions then was asked, the Parks and Recreation Commission, do they want to see this in the park system? Are they still in favor of doing this project? So I told them that yes, we've had the conversation before, but I will bring it up again and see where the commission is. So when we go back on the 10th, we can, share what the commission's feeling is on this project. So.
And I will, I guess, provide a little bit more background that I glazed over to as part of this project too, with the price point and the type of project that it has. It did classify as a public improvement, which did require us to go get a site survey. It did require us to get engineered stamp drawings. So there is additional cost there. Part of the engineer's cost estimate and what we included, even with the bid result, that number, there is a 10% contingency within that as well. So with that amount, $28,000 to $30,000 for a contingency if needed with this size of project. We hope we don't have to dig into that contingency too far, but it's obviously there to help us if needed. So just a few other components.
And one of the things that is with the concrete, because the concrete cost was almost 3 times what we thought it would be originally. And And one of the things is the Development Review Committee, when Joshua and Courtney took this project to them, they did require that we do a sidewalk or a path from the Bloomington shared use path to the mini pitch. So that adds some cost. We also, through things, just because with the tennis courts and with the pickleball courts, that we've done, we do experience cracking at times, and those are asphalt. This is going to be concrete. So Courtney had worked with the CGA, the consultant, and asked about post-tension concrete. And what it is in the concrete itself, you basically put a pipe or a threaded rod, let's say, through the concrete in both directions. And when the concrete is poured, what you do is you have nuts on the end and you tighten it. So it really holds the concrete together, and it really prevents the cracking. So seeing as we're going with an acrylic surface, the engineer was what, 16,000, their estimate was, if we're going to do this, just because of what we experienced with tennis courts, that it seemed like a good extra money, which will help save us maintenance costs in the future. So those are a couple other items in addition to what Courtney had mentioned for costs. So with that, what Dwayne, I think you were going to say something.
Courtney, one of the things when we were at the community meeting, there was probably no fewer than 3 or 4 soccer groups that were there. And they were wanting to rent the facility. Have you guys kind of looked at how that rental would offset this overage? Because I know at least 3 people spoke that had soccer groups that said they would come in and rent it on a regular basis, which the city people kind of ruffled a little bit, but we knew that, they're not always going to be in there.
Yeah, no, that's correct. We haven't looked into those operating expenses or the revenue side of things of what would bring in. But yes, that people have expressed interest, and even Stonebrook Church, as part of that agreement, they found that they would have high utilization for the court as well. Obviously, the neighborhood was in support of the project to have there. And even we run our soccer program up to the grades 5 and 6. We are seeing more of a trend of parents reaching back out. We don't offer 7th, 8th, and above because it's usually when they transfer to school or go intramurals, to where if they can keep certain groups together. So would futsal in this mini pitch court be an avenue where we could expand those leagues and offer that opportunity as well? So
Because $100,000 it's not that big of a deal if you have that kind of a rental income coming in. I mean, it pays for itself quickly. And listening to the folks in there, I said this last time, they didn't want 1, they wanted 2 right away. Right. And that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fearful of what the cost of number 2 is going to be.
And the neighborhood was okay with the lights.
The neighborhood loved it. They all wanted it quickly.
some of the things they did express with the lights was if it during the difference between school light hours versus summer hours.
Yeah.
But those types of things can be programmed that we can
Right.
accommodate.
Like if you have groups renting it,
Right.
it could be hours of lights on, so.
Well, and they were going to have special hours during school so that the lights would go off no matter what when the people left. But then these guys talked about the programming aspect of it, that when there's nobody on the pitch, the lights are not on.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's why they were like, oh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like my concern with council putting the kibosh on it is just that I feel like Parks Commission, and the Parks and Rec department has a better handle on, what projects are interesting in the community, what things are, like pickleball wasn't a thing 5 years ago, and now you have those courts, at capacity all day long, and it's like there's already enthusiasm for this. I think it's an interesting amenity in a part of town that doesn't have a lot of recreation type amenities that aren't like a play structure or whatever. I don't know. I'm still in favor of it. I'm definitely in favor of, you have put in a lot of work doing outreach, research, talking to vendors. at least going back out to bid on that second package and seeing what it comes to. Like I'm still in favor of it, and I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for it in the community. So
Is there much upkeep to it, like annually, to like the surface? I see it's an acrylic surfacing. Is there?
Yeah, so the surfacing with it being an acrylic surface would be something similar to the tennis courts, the pickleball courts. So it would be similar maintenance to that.
Yeah, which
When it
could
required.
be 7 to 10 years,
Okay.
depending on how well it wears. Again, our tennis courts are all, I think, asphalt,
Correct.
and this is going to be concrete. So it'll be a little different, but with that post tension, most of the time we're doing maintenance on the tennis courts is because we have cracking
Yeah.
and we got to fill, and then once you fill and take care of the cracks, then you got to resurface.
Okay.
So we're hoping it might even last a little bit longer
Oh,
than what
nice.
the tennis courts do.
Okay.
So here's what I would suggest if with this. So we've heard, from some of you, if what might be helpful is if somebody made a motion, if you feel strongly about doing it, if somebody makes a motion to say, hey, Parks and Recreation Commission recommends City Council move forward with this project, something along those lines, then I can share that with with them, and I've jotted down some of these comments that I can share that as well. So motions from the commission are always good.
I make a motion to move along with it. Wait till the bid comes in for 2, right?
Well, for bid package
For bid
2,
package
yeah,
2.
it'd be 1 mini pitch.
Right. Yeah, right.
Second.
Not 2. I want 2.
It would look so good.
I
up
want
there.
4.
That's right up the way.
motion from Rathy
Kinda mini, isn't it?
to
High school,
recommend
private-
City Council that
There's the
we
Lutheran church.
move forward with the mini pitch
Yeah.
project, and second from Isles. Is there any additional discussion?
Okay.
All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the motion carries.
All right, thank you. Now, this isn't on here, but I'm going to do this right now.
Oh, that's
So one
Let's-
thing that we forgot to do with the report last month on Furman, we get a lot of people that do the surveys. So in each of these envelopes, we'll give one to Deb, and you can pass out the other ones. So what we just need you to do is pull one out, just ruffle through them, pull one out, and they will get a free pass,
These are
whatever that is. So-
these are folks that have completed the Furman Aquatic Center season end survey. So say what you're drawing for, and then say the name, and then hand them to Keith. So no, you guys say the name,
So this for a punch pass?
say for a punch pass, and then
right?
the name.
And who is it?
Carmen Ellen,
Ooh.
or is it Ellen Carmen? Which one is it?
I think Carmen Allen.
Okay.
So this is the punch pass.
All right, Jeff.
So I've got a family pass here, and it goes to Tasca or Tascha Hauber, Hauber.
Congrats, Tasha.
Tasha, sorry.
Okay.
I slaughtered that one.
I have an individual pass for youth, and it says Britney Spears for Gavin Birth.
Congrats,
Individual.
Brittany.
I'm Brittany. I'm Gavin.
In adult passes, I have one adult pass for Joan Wee.
Congrats, Joan.
All right, we really appreciate when people take the time to complete these surveys, give us feedback, and it is very helpful for us. So thank everybody who did that, and we will reach out and get these passes are for 2025.
All right. Thank you for participating in the drawings. All right. Monthly report from staff.
So yes, weather is changing. So a lot of our programs have shifted inside. So we are utilizing Ames Community School District facilities for games and practices. Obviously, Homewood closed for the report earlier, and we did have the conclusion of our first fall swim lesson session that took place at Iowa State Pool. So we appreciate their workings with us, Recreation Services, to utilize that pool, and we'll have a new session beginning in January. And I also would say one thing that we did miss with the Homewood report is that they did receive Best of Story County in the category of golf courses. So Homewood Golf Course was in first place with the other two finalists of Ames Golf and Country Club and Riverbend Golf Course. So another tribute to Pat and Nate for their hard work to receive that.
If you want to go out and bear the cold weather, Iowa DNR stocked trout in Ada Hayden here beginning of November, end of October. So 2,000 trout were stocked there recently. Staff has been busy doing a lot of different, just trying to finish up as many items as we can before the weather gets cold and the ground gets frozen. Obviously, all of our irrigation, all of our bathrooms, water fountains are all closed. Want to give an update. Bids and specs are currently out for the car park agility course project. They're due next week, so we received some interest in that project. The neighborhood is excited about it. We're excited about the design. So I had a really nice meeting with them middle of last month. So that was fun. And then also just received bids back, very favorable bids back for the Ice Arena radiant heating system that's been past its useful life. Hasn't been working very well. So we're going to get that replaced here hopefully by the end of next spring. So just a lot of things going on. And then also lastly is early part of December, we'll be receiving proposals from our engineers for the replacement of the path at Ada Hayden Heritage Park. So received quite a bit of interest in regards from engineers and consultants to do that project. So a lot of things, a lot of exciting things going on in the pipeline that are going to happen next year.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Courtney or Joshua? Any commission member comments?
I have one. Many of you know that there used to be a program called Plant to Grow that Ryman Gardens kind of helped out with. That has changed twice in the last few years. It's now called Give and Grow, not GAG, but Give and Grow. Acronyms are going to kill us one of these days. But one of the things that I had proposed a little bit too, and hopefully it'll come to fruition, is that Ryman Gardens partners with the City of Ames Park and Rec with the Community Garden Group to get any excess produce and things that they have, herbs that we can also get. So last year, this past year, they brought in over 18,000, almost 19,000 pounds that went to about 7 different food banks around Story County. So we were very proud and went over in Boone. Very proud of what they did with that. A lot of people pulled together. So we're hoping to get with the city in the next few months to have some conversation to make it even better. So something we're looking forward to.
Really happy about the land and water legacy bond passing. So really looking forward to some of the projects that we discussed at the last meeting. So that's great.
I want to thank staff for repairing the canoe and kayak access along the Skunk River near the new dam and rapids. It's looking good. It's much easier to access there now, and it's a lot less likely to wash out. So thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Our next meeting is December 5th at 4 p.m. and that is the CIP workshop. And then we will maybe meet the 19th, depending on how much business there is. If there are no other comments, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Reeves motion to adjourn. Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.